Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are continuing our 12 Days of Christmas series for December. This is where I'm going to have 12 videos coming out to you back to back to back, just to kind of give you some inspiration for the holiday season. So today I'm doing something I have never done before, and I am going to make my own glitter acetate. I believe I watched Jennifer McGuire do this technique in a video a while back ago now, and I wanted to try it. I have all of the things to do it, and I've been wanting to try it, and now seemed like the perfect time. So I have a MINC machine here. There is a mini MINC, which is wide enough for you to fit like an A2 size panel in. But this is the large one, and this has a 12-inch, I think it's like a 13-inch wide opening. You can fit a 12 by 12 piece of paper in there. So it's wider than that. And this is what I use as my quote-unquote laminator. So what I have here is some glitter. I purchased this, I don't even know how long ago, from Walmart. Any glitter you have will work. I would make sure it's not super thick, like depth-wise, I guess you could say. Like, it can be like chunky, but not... You want to, I guess what I'm saying is you want to ensure that when you put this through your laminator to seal it, that your glitter isn't super chunky so that the laminating pouch can still seal, if that makes any sense. So all I've done is taken some of that glitter and just sprinkled it all over the front of... I opened up my pocket, my laminating pouch, and sprinkled glitter all over it. I tried to make sure that the glitter was spread out fairly evenly, that there wasn't a lot of glitter like stacked on top of each other. Again, just trying to make sure that when I go to cut this down to create these tags, that it seals well. And I put the, this is real time right now, by the way. I put the sealed or closed end through my laminator first. That's to ensure that these rollers don't catch your laminating pouch and either break your machine or just give you a huge headache trying to get it out. So there I have my little We Are Memory Keepers little vacuum. I use that to vacuum up some of the stray glitter that kind of got outside of my pocket. I am really loving this little gizmo. I kind of bought it on a splurge, spur of the moment, probably wee hours of the morning baby feeding. So I've really enjoyed it. So I put that through, and as you can see, that glitter is now trapped inside that laminating pouch, and it looks really, really cool. I went ahead and ran it through, I think once, maybe twice more. Did I need to? Probably not. But I just really wanted to ensure that this was sealed really well. The machine's already on. Why not? So I did run this through a couple of times just to ensure that everything was really sealed in there. Once that was done, I grabbed this PinkFresh Studio tag die set. I have been using this a lot as of late, not only for my craft fairs, but my Christmas series. You've been using this tag set a lot, and there will be more with this tag set as the series continues. So really versatile set. Here I am going to use this Shadow Box die set. This is from Fawn, and it has all these components to create kind of a scene in a shadow box card. But I snipped apart one of these dies that is supposed to create like a hill, and I'm going to make a snow hill. So I just used some white cheap cardstock and cut that out from there. And then I have this kind of nesting oval die set from, I believe this is from Spellbinders, but any nesting oval die set you have will work. You're not going to use the actual oval itself, you're going to use the negative window. So what I've done is I have taken some colored cardstock, this is from Paper Studio, and cut out 2 of the same colored tag from, this is some like pool tied pool colored cardstock. And I'm going to put these tags back to back. And then I'm going to temporarily tape them in place with some purple satin masking tape from Altenew, just to ensure that they don't shift and move as I run these through my die cut machine. So I chose a oval die that I thought fit this tag fairly well, and I'm going to center that as best I can with these two tags taped temporarily together. The reason why you want to do it this way is so that when you go to actually adhere all of these tags together and put them together, you have windows in the same place for the tag. You don't have to do any additional trimming or cutting because everything is cut from the same place on both tags. So, excuse me, I ran that through my die cut machine, and I'm just going to peel off my temporary tape. I put those spare ovals into that stamp pocket. I don't need them for this project, but there may come a project where I do need them. And so I just went ahead and kept them and just put them in the back of my stamp pocket. So now you have two tags where an oval is cut from the same exact spot on both of them. So I'm going to keep those together. And then I'm just going to continue to do that for each of these tags. So I have 12 teal or tide colored, pool color tags here. I'm going to tape 2 of them together back to back, temporarily put my oval die in place with some of that same tape and run that through my die cut machine and keep each of these tags together so that you don't have to fiddle or do any extra trimming. Once all that die cutting was done, I am going to go ahead and trim down my acetate, our glitter acetate that we made. I just cut out a rectangle shape that fit behind that window without any hangover on the sides. I think they ended up being like 2 3/4 by like 2 1/4 or something like that. But you just cut out whatever fits behind your particular tag and in behind your particular window. And then I have a particular blade that I use anytime I cut acetate, because I discovered that it dulled my blade that I was using for paper really, really quick. So I have just a spare blade that I use only when I cut acetate, and then I have another one that I use when I cut like thin chipboard, lightweight chipboard down, or like cereal box type material. I have another one that I have labeled C for those. So that just helps kind of extend the life of my blades, because those suckers have gotten expensive. So here what I've done is I've kind of planned out where I want each of these little hills to go. Obviously these hills are too long. They are not meant for this particular purpose, but we're getting more use out of what we have in our stash. So if you have a die set that is made for a different purpose, try looking through your stash and seeing, okay, well, how can I use this in a different way? Just to give your supplies some more bang for your buck, I guess you could say. So I took some liquid glue and kind of laid out where I wanted each of these hills to go and glued those in place. And then I will go back and making sure I keep each of these tags together, since we cut them out, probably not from the exact same spot on each of the tags. Here I'm just trying to make sure I keep each of those tags together. And I have that hillside kind of face up so that that glue can dry. And I don't glue things together before I'm ready to glue things together. So I'm going to go through and add each of these hills where they need to go, where I think they look kind of cute on each of these tags. And then I will flip it to the back and cut off the excess of that hill, that snowbank that is hanging off the sides. Before I do that though, I'm going to take some 1/8 inch score tape or double-sided tape that you have in your stash. And because this is acetate, I don't necessarily want to use liquid glue. Number one, liquid glue takes eons to dry if it ever does dry. Plus, I don't want to have the glue seep out. It makes the acetate look cloudy, and I don't want that either. So using a dry adhesive, a tape runner, a dot runner, double-sided tape like this is your best bet. So in order to glue this glitter acetate down, this is what I'm going to use. And I just used a strip along the two sides, the top and the bottom, just to make sure that I could get this acetate in place and it wasn't going to shift. When I go to glue the back side of these tags in place, I will use some more of that 1/8 inch score tape along the two sides, but I will use liquid glue on the top and the bottom. So here I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and trim off the excess of each of these snowbanks from each of these tags. If y'all have watched any of my videos, you know that I am a sucker for penguins. For some reason, they just make me so happy and bring a smile to my face. So I have this Sunny Studios, I think this is called Penguin Pals. I'll list it below. But it just has all of these darling little penguins. And I'm going to use some Gina K amalgam ink in obsidian. This is Copic safe. You can use this for any medium. And that's one of the reasons why I have it. And I discovered something. If you've watched any of my previous videos before, you know that I've had some trouble with this ink in the past. I know it's safe for all of the mediums I'm using it for, but I would color with Copic markers and it would smear. And even though I had heat set it, it would smear. And I was like, man, what am I doing wrong? I wasn't heat setting it enough. So I had to adult and parent after I stamped these images, and these ended up sitting overnight. And I came back to them the next day, 0 smudging. 0 smearing, 0 smudging, perfect. So I just wasn't heat setting them enough. So the ink was still wet, and when I would go with light inks over it, it would smear. So y'all, I am not a Copic color. I'm not an alcohol marker color, but I did take some artist markers from Altenew and color in these images in pinks, purples, and teals. I just liked that color combination for these happy little penguins, and I did just go through and color each of them out. Some of these penguins, like this one on the bottom right here, doesn't have any like accessories, but there are accessories inside that stamp set. And I used my Brother Scan and Cut because if there are coordinating dies, I do not have them. So I used my Brother Scan and Cut to cut out not only these colored penguins, but also spare penguins to layer behind them, because these markers did kind of bleed through my paper, and I want these tags to have a finished and complete look. So I wanted to have something that I could layer behind just to give them a more professional appearance when they were done. So I've adhered the acetate to one side of the tag. I've adhered the hill. Now it is time to add your little critter and add your to and from. So before we do that, I'm going to take that 1/8 inch score tape, and on the left and the right of these tags, I'm just going to apply a strip, and then I'm going to apply liquid glue to the top and the bottom, and that's how I'm going to adhere these tags together. This just helps that acetate adhere to to the other cardstock tag, and gives them a little bit more sturdiness to them. Acetate can be tricky, y'all. So here I'm showing you that there's that bleed through from the markers, and then I'm just going to glue that spare penguin to the back just so that it has that completed and finished look. And I'll do that to each and every one of these tags. I did go and with a light pink marker here. I wish I would have chosen like a purple or a blue, but decisions were made. And just added a little shadow underneath each and every one of these penguins. And then I used a colorless blender just to kind of blend out and soften that shadow that I gave each of these penguins. My sentiment is going to come from this PinkFresh Studio Ornaments die set. And then I have some nesting stitched banner dies. I think these are from Simon, but I'm not entirely sure. Had them in my stash for a long time. And I'm going to use a sentiment from that set and some orchid? I think it's orchid ink from Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated line. And I'm going to stamp out, I think it says Merry and Bright. sentiment, and then I'm going to die cut each of those out with my with that banner die. My daughter comes in to help me now. So this is the Altenew holiday tag sentiment set, and I just took the to and the from, and I'm going to use that same ink to, yes, it is orchid. I'm going to use that same ink to stamp the to and the from. And she's going to do that on the back of each of these tags. Probably should have done that before I glued them all together. It turns out just fine, but just to make sure that everything is safe, and especially if you don't have a stamp positioning tool that you can stamp the same place multiple times, I would do this before you adhere these tags together, just in case you get a misstamping. But she is going to stamp all the to and the froms on there for me. And then we are ready for some embellishments and finishing touches. Before we do that, we are going to add our sentiment. And I just used some liquid glue to adhere that down. Again, if you wanted to, you could put some foam tape behind that just to give that sentiment a little more dimension, but I chose to keep it kind of simple and put them down flat. So she has some spare acetate that she was very excited to play with. She has a little basket in my craft room that is her card making supplies. It's very cute. I did add some just plain baker's twine, plain white baker's twine to the top of each of these tags. If you had pretty ribbons and matching colors, by all means, absolutely use those, but I just chose to stick with the white. I do have some Nuvo Drops, and I will list the colors down below. I can't remember which ones they are right now, but I'm going to add some more quote-unquote snowflakes or whatnot to the front of these glitter acetate panels. And I have 3 different colors that I felt matched my color theme fairly well. And I'm just going to add little dots of these 3 colors to the acetate. Do the same trick, tap them on your counter to get them to knock down. And then that is it. These are super fun, not only because I am a sucker for penguins, but because they are just super, super fun. So, and something that I've never done before. So thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you will stick around for the rest of the series. And if you've missed any other videos, I hope you'll go back and check them out. And until then, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.